if someone is trying to oppress me, I'm going to fight to the death. If that means my life, and I don't feel like I need to be in bondage, I'd rather die. I mean, if you look at the Indians or Native Americans, whatever you want to call them, they wasn't going for that mess. Most of them, which is why damn near all of them are wiped out now. So, yeah, when I open myself up to other points of view, I agree. To me, it was kind of like a choice.
I can agree with that. Here's why I can agree with that, right? Like, from what we were told, this nation was born because the citizens that left Britain or Europe that came here, they didn't want to pay taxes, right? So in essence, they're saying, we don't want to pay your taxes. We don't want to go by your rules and laws. We rather fight you to the death before we go by your rules and laws.
Right.
So taking that mindset and moving it to slavery, I get what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to fight to the death? Not to do what the establishment is asking or demanding that you do. So I get that. It kind of was a choice to a certain degree. Are you willing to die for your freedom? You got to really put yourself in those shoes and ask yourself that question.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of what he was saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a lot of people didn't allow themselves to be open to the statement, even though I think part of the problem was people took that one line and not what came before it or after it, and that's where they left it. And that's why I originally had an issue with that, because it was not in full context. But again,
right,
after I opened my mind up to other points of view and understood the length of it, it's like, yeah. Because if you look at it today, if a joker came and said, hey, you can't do this and we're gonna put you in bondage, what are you gonna do? You're gonna say, oh, okay, take me away, or are you gonna fight for it? Fight for your freedom. You know, I'm not going down like that. So yeah, I mean, that's about one of his antics that I can really, really sit and agree with.
Yeah.
But I think the only problem with that one is it's overshadowed by all the other BS that he does. So, you know, that one gets swept away to the side and put in a jar on the shelf somewhere. And it's like not even really talked about anymore.
Right.
So, friendship with Donald Trump.
I don't know. Again, it's just my personal opinion, but I'm not under the influence of Trump, meaning I'm not a fan. So when that whole him visiting the White House and, you know, them chopping it up like they long lost buddies,
and him calling Trump his daddy,
I couldn't rock with that. Again, you basically got someone who's just putting it out there that he's a racist. He's an honest racist, but nevertheless still a racist. So when Kanye came up with that whole situation of let me be buddy with Trump, I'm like, okay. Hey, if that what floats your boat, then rock with it.
You know, when I look at that situation right there, that is the perfect example of him being used for his influence. And this is where his influence becomes a detriment to him, because he was sitting up in there smiling in this man's face and giving him all these props and this, that, and the other. For what? So he could have access to us. So he was being used for that, in my opinion. Now, in all of that, I never heard, or maybe I missed, where he was getting close to Trump for our benefit. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't hear anything about it. But at the end of the day, even if that was his intention or his agenda, we got nothing out of it. So for him to do all of that retardedness was stupid. And then for him to talk about he was going to run for president, okay. Everybody has their opinions on Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Everybody has their opinions. This is not a conversation about either one of them because I don't give two shits about it at this point. But the problem with it is, if you have a jackass like Kanye playing buddy to Trump, right? And people who pay attention to politics just a little bit can understand what I'm saying. You play buddy to Trump. You say you running for president. You go run for president. First of all, you're not going to beat Trump, Kanye West. You're just not. That's impossible. So what they were doing, using him to do, was take votes away from Joe Biden to ensure Trump won. So that's another jackass antic by Kanye West.
Token.
Complete. Yo. And then this joker had the nerve to call DL Hughley a token. It's like, dude, what are you talking? Like, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah. As far as him running for president, I think that was just an antic. Ain't no way in hell he's gonna run for president.
Not at all.
That was just something that was thrown out there to get people riled up.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I just think that the whole situation with him being paraded around with Trump was just something to get people talking.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, he was just being used as a token.
Pretty much.
But for that matter, what celebrity isn't used for a token? They're all used to a certain degree to get things that they think the public will agree to or sway with, because they're using a certain celebrity for a certain time on a certain subject. So I think they definitely used him, but it didn't work. So again, he just made himself look like an ass.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of, you know, a lot of entertainers or whatever, people are used as tokens or whatever you want to describe them as. It's just the point of how active are you going to be in your tokenship? And he was very active in his tokenship. Like he was full throttle with it. And it was like, dude, like, are you really doing this? And this goes back to separating the artist from his antics and the level of respect, because it's like you're doing this, and it's like people are giving him a pass on this stuff. It's like if you're sitting over here and you're a fan of him, but you don't mess with this dude over here, but just because this dude is putting up this show with this dude, now you're like, okay, let me give it a second look. It's like, no, if you ain't rocking with that dude, don't rock with that dude. If you're a fan of this dude that's rocking with this dude, maybe you need to reevaluate the person that you're a fan of.
Yeah. Again, the thing about it is Kanye thought he was, well, I can't say what he think he was doing. I'm not in his brain like that. But the ideal of what I got behind it was he was a fan of Trump because he thought Trump came from nothing to be president.
Which is not even true.
Yeah, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Silver spoon all the way.
Spoiled ass rich kid.
So, again, he was, from what I gather, was under the influence of, well, Trump came from out of nowhere to be president, and that's what I love. Again, being misguided and misdirected, I think. But again, I'm not in Kanye's head, so.
Exactly. Oh, man.
So comparing himself to biblical figures.
This is to the point where I kind of like was already way checked out on him. So I really can't give substance to this point. But the one thing that I will say about it, I know a lot of people compare themselves to biblical figures. Hell, I know when I've been smashing, I compare myself to biblical figures. So, so, so when it comes to that, it's kind of like I say it or have said it pretty much in a joking manner, just because of the situation. But Kanye, on the other hand, he will stand on the mountaintop and profess that he's like these people. Now, I will give him a little bit of credit, just a little bit. Because if you follow religion and you talk about how Jesus brought the people this, that, and the other, when Kanye says something like that, okay, I get it. Because you doing what you do and you have all these followers. So I get it. But anything beyond that, when it starts getting out of line, so to speak, it's like, dude, sit down somewhere.
So, until I see him part the damn Red Sea or see him walk on water, your ass just regular Kanye to me.
Pretty much.
Sorry. That's how I see it. Just Kanye.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. I don't think there's anything else that could be said on that. It's just mad ridiculous. Like, dude, you're just going too far. Yeah. So let's talk about him harassing his ex-wife over her new boyfriend, Pete Davidson. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Again, I'm kind of partial to it because I know what it's like to want to hold your family together. So I can relate to him on that part of it. But the whole way that he's going about doing it is completely, totally the opposite of the way I would do it.
Right.
Meaning every time you repeat or say that man's name or bring up her name or their name, you're basically just putting more gasoline on the fire of making sure she never comes back your way again. And again, every time you do that, he's just making a bigger ass of himself.
Mm.
Because that video, from what I heard, is very explicit, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was in detail about what he wanted to do to this man. And again, that's out there forever.
Right.
You can't pull it back. You might own all the rights to it, but you can't pull it back. It's out there now.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing of you got kids with this woman, you know, y'all have built this mass empire or this massive empire together to a certain level. Because at one time, Kanye was in a hole by some millions, like I want to say like 100-some million. My boy was in a hole. And who was the one who pulled him out of that hole and put him on solid ground?
Mm.
Kim. She did that. So she basically had enough money to redirect his history. Like, if he would have stayed on that path, ain't no telling what would have happened to Kanye.
Mm.
She went in her checkbook, wrote a check. Take care of it. 100-some million. Who? Like, who has that kind of money?
Mm. Her do.
But she did that shit. So that right there alone was enough to say, yeah, she for real about him.
Yeah.
She is definitely down like 4 flat tires and the spare and a bag of chips to write that type of check.
Yeah.
So again, every marriage has its ups and downs and its hurdles, and you know, it's sunny days and rainy days. But that right there was enough to show him, hey, this is not the average chick.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone should have been enough to, you know, let him know what it was or what it is he had. And if he really wanted her, he had her. But because he all in his ego and wanting to do things his way, again, I'm not on the inside of that relationship. I can't say, you know, what exactly went wrong, but in my eyes, again, when you got somebody that's willing to put themselves on a line for you like that, that's not the type of person you just walk away from. And he let her get away, and now he's regretting it.
Mm.
But he's putting himself in a simp mangina position. You're never gonna get her back because at this point you've proven that you're weak.
Right.
Women do not run towards the weaker males in their society. They run towards the strongest.
Yeah.
They need to know that they're gonna be protected. That, you know, you're gonna put yourself in between them and a danger. And I think what he's doing is showing that he's gonna be hide behind her skirt, which is definitely not what she's gonna go for.
Mm.
It's everybody's fault but yours.
Right. Exactly.
I don't ever see that situation coming back together.
Yeah. When I look at that, you were saying about how a man, you know, wants his family, this, that, and the other. Certain situations, I get that. But again, like you, I'm not in the middle of the relationship. I can only go off of what I've seen publicly. And the way I look at it is, if you really wanted your family to stay intact, you wouldn't have been doing all the stupid shit you've been doing, all the antics, whatever the case may be. If you were struggling with whatever issue, get the help. You had a wife who stood by your side. There was no reason for you not to get the help that you needed. With that relationship being over, it was like he was okay with it being over until she started dating this young dude. And now you in your feelings. Now you need a tampon. Now you need pads to catch all your tears and this, that, and the other. It's like, bro, get it together. This is not the first, nor will it be the last woman that you will ever date, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? He's had other women. The funniest thing that I've heard, though, is that the I don't know if he's still with the chick that he was dating, whatever, but they was like, she kind of looked like Kim Kardashian. And it's like, are you that obsessed that you go out and get a chick that kind of favors your ex-wife? Like, again, get a grip. Then the other thing that bothers me about that situation is that you're doing this and your kids are being subjected to this nonsense. At what point do you be a grown man and be like, I cannot act like this for the sake of my children? Let's just say, for whatever reason, she was like, all right, maybe I'll work it out with him. But he's done way too much, in my opinion, for that to even happen. It's like you did everything opposite of a person with common sense would do in order to rebuild your relationship. So I just think it's weird. Like, and again, you know, you making videos of you, graphic videos of things that you do to this dude, and it's like, why is that okay? And then what happened? The old boy text him a picture of him. I'm in the bed with your wife. And Kanye gets in his feelings. Oh, he's doing this to me. He's doing that to me. It's like, dude, how about you just sit down and shut the fuck up? And nobody will bother you. Nobody's thinking about you. It's like, come on, dude. I don't get it with this dude. Like, for real.
That's, woo, boy, that's a messy situation.
It is messy. And
oh man,
the thing about it is, somebody's gonna get fed up and knock the shit out of Kanye West. Somebody gonna knock his ass out.
That may be the case. Well, whoa. Can you imagine somebody texting you some shit like that?
You know what?
You know what kind of fire that would light in you?
But I have to look at it like this. If I'm not bothering them, there's no need for him to send me a picture like that. That's how I look at it. If I know I messed up that marriage and she decided to move on, then I should give her space and leave her the hell alone and let her do her. Especially if I get in my feelings and I say to myself, I'm going to get you. I'm going to go date somebody else that kind of looks like you. Then you definitely should leave them alone. Now, if I'm still bothering him and the joker send me a picture, oh, I'm in the bed with your wife, should I be mad? Or should I be like, damn, that joker got me back? Hey, it's a tough pill to swallow when you in the wrong.
That it is.
So what do you think about him buying a house across the street from her?
My boy. It's one of those situations, right? Again, when you are on that level that Kanye's on, who the fuck can tell you anything? And your one-time mentor, you surpassed them. So who do you look to even have a simple conversation about you beginning